Good morning, everyone. Excellent. Can everyone hear me okay? A little bit better now? Excellent. So, thank you all for taking the time to come here. I'm going to be yelling over the sound of the air conditioners, given the heat in here at the moment. So, I hope everyone is enjoying the expo so far, everything that they've attended. And I know that me and my session are now standing between all of you and lunch, but given the amount of people around, I think everyone's interested in this, so that's fantastic. So, coming in this morning, as they scanned my badge, the guy scanning said, "Are you the guy from Facebook?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm the guy from Facebook." And there's this pause, and he looked at me and his face lit up, and he said, "Like the guy who set up Facebook." I am not Mark Zuckerberg, I'm afraid. If you hadn't guessed by the Irish accent, I'm not. My name is Ivan Heenahan, and I work for Facebook in our Dublin office. My role there is the manager for our Strategic Client Services team, which is essentially a small team dedicated to working with advertisers and companies such as yourselves to find out how to use Facebook the best way possible to deliver on your business objectives. So today I'm here to talk about two things. First of all, I'm here to talk about what we at Facebook call social by design. A particular approach we encourage companies to take in order to really put people at the center of everything they do and to leverage the Facebook platform the best way possible to deliver against their business objectives. The second thing I'm here to talk about then is particularly for all of you, how these can then be applied to the e-commerce area. Starting off, I'd like to give you an idea of what it means to be social by design. So I have a very short video from 1-800-Flowers in the US.
1-800-Flowers really exists for the sole purpose of delivering smiles. My brother Jim and I, who started...
Actually, technical difficulties at the very start. Don't you love it? And I'll actually just play this. That didn't take long, did it?
1-800-Flowers really exists for the sole purpose of delivering smiles. My brother Jim and I, who started with One Flower Shop, we often go back to, we need the type of interaction we had with our customers in that very first store, where they would stop in from the community and chat with us. Well, all of a sudden, Facebook is a platform that's all about customers telling stories. So we no longer have to try and generate that. It's happening automatically within Facebook. Well, within the last year or so, we've really transformed our thinking to drive everything we do to be social by design. And for us, it just means let's look at every single application we build. Let's look at every single business function we do and make sure that it has a social element to it. I start off with the mantra, if it's not social, we're not doing it. As we head into our key floral holidays this year, beginning with Valentine's Day, we looked at this as an opportunity to take a lot of the learning that we had done and really apply it to a major part of our marketing initiatives. So for the couple of weeks leading up to Mother's Day week, we would reach out to moms and ask them to come to our site or to our fan page and like which products they would like to receive for Mother's Day. It helped us in our merchandising strategies. For example, the 4 most liked products in that campaign wound up being 4 of the top 5 selling products that we had for the Mother's Day season. As we're getting ready to launch our next brand, everything's Facebook. When we look at Facebook, our overarching measurement of success is level of engagement that we get with our customers. The thankfulness we get from our customers by being so responsive, whether it be a customer service issue that we're responding to on Facebook, or by being responsive to their needs and questions that they have for us. Well, we know that engagement translates into sales. Right now we have over 200,000 fans. That gives us the ability to reach over 40 million friends of friends. But the value of us reaching those 40 million people with an endorsement from our fan base is tremendous. And sponsored stories really allows our customers to tell our story for them. It's the most effective marketing channel we've found to date. So we're always looking for ways to get our customers to tell that story about why they were moved to send someone flowers to begin with. That's what I think spurs brand advocates to post information about us online, to give us content. to give us a story about how they used our products and services. More importantly, to post a photograph of the smile that we delivered for them. And it's wonderful that our customers are finding it, that they love the opportunity to share that with the world on Facebook. When I look at what we've accomplished on Facebook so far, I really adopt one of the comments that drives the culture of Facebook. The journey's only 1% finished.
So, what you saw there was what we call social by design in action, and we're going to touch on this later on in the presentation. In Facebook, we believe in a couple of different things. The main one for us is that businesses will be better in a more connected world. That Facebook connects people and their friends to the things that they really care about. With over 800 million people connected to each other now, and with over 30 million alone in the UK, Facebook offers this unparalleled platform to get your business into that social graph, to get your business connected to these people and to the people that matter most and your customers. And the products that we offer all cater to this goal, allowing people to connect and share with each other. As a recent example, a couple of weeks ago of how fast things move in Facebook, at the F8 conference we announced a couple of major changes. The first one is to our profile, and over the next few weeks people's profiles will slowly be replaced by what we call Timeline, which is a new version of the profile. And essentially what Timeline does is it takes all this information that you filled out on Facebook already, that already sits in and around your profile, and pulls it together into a historical overview of you. It's your entire life story in a chronological order on Facebook. And alongside Timeline, we've also implemented what we call the custom social graph. What this is simply a way to allow people to share more information with each other and make it even more frictionless than ever before. Now this will launch in the next few weeks, and it's launched with a select number of partners and more as time goes by. But what it essentially means now is, with certain partners, when I read something on Facebook, all my friends will now see on my timeline that I've read a particular article and can immediately click through and read that same article. Or in the case of with Spotify, I now can see what all my friends are listening to at that very moment, what they've listened to over the last few hours, and immediately jump in and play that same music. So just ways to allow people to share information even more frictionlessly than ever before. And this sharing of information, the way we look at it is people sharing stories. And stories is a very important word to us on Facebook. And throughout this presentation, we'll come back to that word again and again. First of all, I mean, what we look at is the evolution of sharing and the evolution of finding information. In the 1990s, it was all about browsing. It was the start of the original web directories, such as Yahoo, where you found information by simply going to a web directory and delving deeper and deeper for the information you wanted, which was all categorized. The decade after that was really owned by search and by Google, where instead of going to a directory and going level by level through it, you would simply type in the search terms for what you're looking for and have the results come back to you. Very efficient, very quick, and very, very strong results. But now we're in another area, the area of discovery, and what we call social discovery. And this is where, for me, it's almost a reversion to how we used to do things. It's where we get information from people we trust, from our friends and families. The same way that we get recommendations off friends for places to go on holiday. The same way we would ask our friends, what car should I buy next? This is what's happening now. People are reverting to these old social behaviors. And a lot of these are happening on Facebook. And everyone here is part of this every day. Can I get a show of hands for who is actually on Facebook and who has a Facebook profile at the moment? Pretty much everybody. And how many people have posted something in the last 6 hours or commented or liked something? About half that. Okay. Not quite the power users that I expected. But this sharing is happening all the time and at an ever-expanding rate as well. To give you an idea, from the middle of last year to the start of this year, the amount of information being shared, the content being posted, liking, commenting, etc., doubled in a 6-month period, and it just continues to increase. And specifically for organizations and companies like yourself, we're beginning to see a shift in Facebook as well. And we feel that this is very, very applicable to everyone here. All the sharing of content, of views, of information, is resulting in what we feel is a change to the traditional model of awareness, interest, decision, action. You get somebody interested in your product, you make them aware of it, you get them interested, you get them to choose yours, and you get them to purchase your product or service. What we're seeing is the rise of a fifth aspect, the recommendation aspect. When somebody has taken an action, recommending it to others and driving it back through awareness. So rather than the funnel originally, we now have this cycle instead, where you are looking for people who have taken action to then recommend to their friends to drive even more awareness for a product or service. So we see this sharing and this recommendation as the creation of word-of-mouth stories. And we feel the best way to ensure you're creating these stories is to be what we call in Facebook being social by design. Put simply, social by design is putting people at the center of what you do. It's looking at how you offer your product or service to people at the moment and asking, are people really at the center of that? And if not, what can I do to make them the center of that? The 1-800-Flowers example is a perfect example, where they're selling flowers. They're selling, at the start of the video is actually they're selling happiness. But they took a step back from we sell flowers to people to really thinking about, well, how can we use our customer base to empower each other, to share this information, to increase our sales. And the end goal of being social by design is to essentially generate more stories about your business and get you exposed to more people. And we'll talk about this later on. Now, being social by design is a very catch-all term. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution. But we use a number of guiding principles in Facebook for this. We have 4 main ones. Putting people first and content second. What is the best user experience you can offer to get your product or service in front of somebody and get them to take action? And is what you do actually social at the moment? If not, can it be? And how can it be? Secondly, empower people to share that information, to share stories, and make that sharing as simple and as fast as possible. Thirdly, understand a few can activate many. The average number of Facebook friends that somebody has is in or around 130. Think about it. If you have one person interested in your product or service and they're willing to talk about that, that's exposure to another 130 possible customers. And for every 1 or 2 of them that you then get exposed, that you then get interested in your product or service, exposure to another 130. All it takes is a few active brand advocates to really get the ball rolling. And finally, getting people to understand that their friends are there. Make sure people can see that their friends are involved, that the people that they are recommending to are there, and make sure they're able to share these stories with their family or friends and with people they can trust. I'll give you an example of being social by design. So, in my spare time, I'm a computer gamer. I am officially a nerd. And 2 or 3 years ago, I purchased a game called Heavy Rain for the PlayStation 3. Now, Heavy Rain was a bit of a revolution at the time. It was the most advanced visuals ever seen in a computer game. It was the most advanced sound. And it was a very unique experience. It was an adult-oriented murder mystery. And a wonderful experience to play through. But the thing was, it was one person. You play through it yourself. There was no way to share. There was no other people involved. It was you and the machine. This does not have the visuals of Heavy Rain. This is Zombie Lane on Facebook. It doesn't have the visuals of Heavy Rain. It doesn't have the same sound. Very simple, cartoonish graphics, very easy to play. What it does have, it has your friends. So people can play together, be neighbours with each other, help each other out. Zombie Lane is the perfect example of being social by design, of adopting it in terms of thinking people first, content second. That's why Facebook has over 200 million people playing games on Facebook every month. 200 million, that's more than the combined worldwide sales of the PlayStation 3, Microsoft Xbox and the Nintendo Wii together. So with social by design in mind, this is how Facebook now approaches all the products that we offer. We look to make sure that the products we offer companies allow them to engage in conversation with a fan base, with a group of people who are brand advocates, who have held up their hand and said, I'm interested in this company's product or service. And then all our products around that as well. From pages to allow you to connect with people, from ads that allow you to reconnect with those people and also connect to those people's friends, from social plugins and technology to bring Facebook functionality to your website to allow people to interact with your website and push that content back to Facebook, back to their friends again. All of our products are aimed at this. And we also want to make sure they overlap. Each of our products can be used separately. So you can go out and you can set up a Facebook page for your business, and you don't need to use the ads product or social plugins. You can go out and use the ads product to drive people to your website, and you don't need to use the pages or social plugins product. But the products are designed to interlink, and as they link together, they become more powerful. To be truly social by design, we view a company using all areas at that intersection as really leveraging Facebook. Looking at some of the key products very briefly, the Pages product is almost the cornerstone that we have. It's to simply put a brand's identity on Facebook. It is the entity on Facebook that people will connect to. It's how they'll see you. It's what they'll connect to. It's when they will say, yes, I'm interested in hearing from this business, this product, this service. It allows you to connect and make meaningful, long-lasting connections with people. It allows you to engage with people, to not just push information to them, but to engage in a two-way dialogue, have them push information back to you, and converse over and back. And it allows you to expand that reach. So as you build your page, as you gain fans, you can then touch those people's friends of fans and make more brand advocates. As an example of kind of the changes we've made, just literally 3 or 4 days ago, we released a completely new set of insights and reporting for Pages to allow you to see far more information than ever before. As a very quick example, these are the sort of metrics you can now see for Pages. From the number of people who've liked your page, who have said they're interested in your product or service, to the number of friends of fans, the number of people who are friends of those people, whom you can possibly touch and reach out to. The number of people talking about your product or service, commenting, liking, posting links to your page, and the total reach, the number of people who have engaged with any sort of content to do with your page. So all of a sudden you can see the total impact that having a page can have, and the total reach and the total number of people that you can actually touch. Tied very closely to our Pages product is our ads product. There's a number of different ads types. I'm not going to go through all of them here. But what I wanted to point out was there's one thing with our ads product which is an advantage above all others. And that is what we call our ads being ads with friends. Our ads having this social context. So ads can be run on Facebook very traditionally, normally clicking through a website. But if you were to have a page as well, your ads can link directly to that page. And the metrics around this are pretty astounding. So we brought in Nielsen to do an independent study of what sort of impact does it have when I simply see an ad with my friend's name in it. And the results were pretty impressive. So as soon as I'm exposed to an ad that has my friend's name in it and that they've interacted with this, I'm 1.5 times more likely to remember that this ad is actually for Mercedes-Benz. I'm twice as likely to remember the message of this, the fact there's a prize in there. And I'm actually 4 times more likely to now engage and take the action this ad is asking me to do. Very, very powerful statistics. To really tap into this, we also introduced another product about 3 months ago, which has taken off and which is very quickly becoming the cornerstone of our media products. And we call this Sponsored Stories. What Sponsored Stories are simply actions that people are taking, amplified. So imagine a situation where somebody has liked a particular page for a product. When they like that piece of information passes through their news stream. The thing is that news stream is very transient. You know, with an average of 130 friends, possibly more, and with an average of people spending so much time on Facebook every single day, I think it's 8 hours a month at the moment, that newsfeed passes very quickly. You do tend to miss information quite a lot in there, and only see it later when it's resurfaced. So what sponsored stories do, they allow companies to take an action somebody has taken and amplify it out. So rather than it passing through the news stream and being exposed to a small percentage of somebody's friends, it actually appears in a separate position on the right-hand side of the page under the term sponsored stories. And what it simply is it's taking that content which is in the newsfeed, which has already been shown to your friends, and breaking it out separately and keeping it in a permanent position that they're exposed to. And we've seen some pretty amazing results with this so far. We are undergoing a number of analysis and getting some case studies in place, but we've seen pages who have used this to get people to like their page. We've seen results of 10 times what they originally got, thanks to using sponsored stories. And the idea behind it is simply this friends of fans effect. Expanding your fan base, tapping into these friends of fans, and for each one of them that becomes a fan, you have access to their friends of fans. And so on, reaching out into the wider Facebook population. And this is how sponsored stories are designed. The other two products that we offer, social plugins, which we'll talk about more later on because they are a key part for any e-commerce company, which is simply bringing Facebook functionality to your website. Putting things like the like button, the share button, the recommend button on your website. And when somebody takes an action and likes a product on your website, having that pass back and being exposed in their news stream to all their friends. And then things like custom applications. Essentially, on your page, having applications that you can build to really get people engaged. A really good example of this, the British Tourist Authority and the Love UK page. And what they have is the top 50 UK places. So as people check into places, they have this ranked list which changes over time of the top tourist attractions in the UK. So we have this set of products, and we have a simple enough model for how it fits together, which we call Build, Engage, and Amplify. Build your page or fan base. Engage with this through publishing content to them and engaging in two-way conversation, and amplifying the effect of building the fan base and getting this engagement with your people with ads with friends and social plugins. What this allows you to do is put in place a community of people that you're engaging in a two-way dialogue with an aim to fulfilling your business objectives through generating stories. And we'll come back to stories at the very end of the presentation. So what does this mean for e-commerce? We've seen a general overview of our products. We've seen the approach we take in Facebook, this Build, Engage, Amplify, to fit them together. But what about companies like everyone in this room who at the end of the day are looking to sell, whether that's on Facebook or whether that is through your own website? For us in Facebook, we see the e-commerce opportunity as a very specific one. People are interested and people purchase. They purchase off websites, they purchase off pages on Facebook. But what we see it really as enabling customers to share their customer journey in a very lightweight way, and to allow for better social discovery and social recommendations. At its very simplest level, we want to allow people to say, I'm interested in a brand or a product or service. We want them to be able to see what their friends are interested in or recommending. And when somebody has purchased a product or service, allowing them to respond to that and share that with their friends and family. And if you look at it along kind of the customer journey dimension, this pre and post purchase, very simply, we look at it as like, share, and recommend. So having a page for your company that people can like, or having like buttons on your website for particular products or services, allows people to first of all say, I'm interested in this product or service. Having a share button, allowing people to push this to other people once they've completed that purchase, allowing people to send this to their friends, to their family, to people they know will be interested in this product or service. And allowing people to also recommend what they bought. To again just say, this product or service, I'm really interested in it, I've bought it, I'm happy with it, I think you should try it out. And when we go back to the Build, Engage, Amplify, what we see is these social plugins sit firmly within the Build section. Delving a little more deeply into this Build, Engage, Amplify, particularly for e-commerce websites, let's have a look at how it might apply. First of all, build. So the decision here is essentially twofold. It's building a page, implementing social plugins, or doing both together. Each has its own advantages. Together brings you to be more social by design, but each can also be used separately. So for us, creating the page, creating an identity for your brand on Facebook. So this is going to be your part of Facebook, your node on the graph. It's going to be the entity that people will really connect to. Starting two-way conversations with people. So opening up a dialogue, sharing information with them, getting them to respond, and seeing how that generates business. Using like ads to increase your fan base. Using social plugins to enhance your website, and we'll see some examples in a moment. And using custom applications to really enhance your page. So, as some just really good examples around this. ASOS are almost like a best in class for us in terms of what they're doing. So on the ASOS website you have social plugins. So one of the things that I'm known for by all my friends is my obsession with jackets, scarily enough. So I actually have a full jacket collection. So on ASOS, when I see a product or service that I really like, so in this case seeing a jacket, I can like that and all my friends see that in their news feeds. Ivan's liked another jacket. They can also, if they see this themselves, they can also send this to me. In terms of an application on a page, Alton Towers is a really, really good example of this. Just allowing you to book and purchase tickets directly through their page. So while their page is set up to get you to engage with them and to have that two-way conversation, they're also using this custom application to generate sales from their page. And Virgin Trains are the same. Again, an application to allow you to check timetables and book tickets immediately. So the second step, engaging. So after you've built, after you have your page in place, your social plugins in place, it's really about engaging with people, publishing information to fans. For this, we really do recommend looking at a publishing calendar or a strategy around this. So many companies start a page and just start posting information for the sake of posting information. It's really not about that. It's really about people engaging with your brand. This is one of the reasons that we've introduced the new metrics. When you have a page now, you will actually see a number, which is people talking about this page or this brand. And what that is the number of people engaging with that page and that brand. And this allows people to very quickly see, is our page actually getting engagement? Is our page actually generating stories? After this, the easiest way to do this is creating social experiences that are easy to share. Images, video, asking questions, exclusives. We see all of these as really successful ways to engage in a two-way dialogue and get people interested in your product or service. Some examples we have of this: exclusive sales and private shopping is a very quickly growing area in a lot of Southern European countries and emerging markets for us. And what we're seeing more of as a really good example is that these shopping websites, it's essentially private shopping. You sign up, you get exclusive access to particular brands. They've started kicking off all their sales 2 days early, exclusively to their Facebook fan bases, and they're seeing most of their sales now come from those areas. And it's also thinking about, now that we have a page in place, how do we use them to implement our sales strategy? So a page is, it is a brand, it is a two-way conversation platform, but it is also there to help you sell. And thinking about, well, how best do we do this? Through custom applications. What sort of conversations do we need to start and have with people that will actually lead to a sale? Some examples of this. Hairy Baby, interesting name, is a t-shirt company in Ireland. A very small one with a very dedicated following. A huge amount of repeat sales. In or around 60 to 70% of their sales comes from repeat business. And what they've done is they've started to use their Facebook page as almost their entire platform. So what they will do is this. These T-shirts are essentially Irish slogans and funny things to do with the Irish society. And what they'll do is they will ask for recommendations on what their next T-shirt should be. They'll take all the recommendations people volunteer, and they'll run a poll to find out what are the top 3. Once they know the top 3, they'll go off and they'll print those T-shirts, and then they'll sell them back to the fan base at 20% off for the first day. They generate huge amounts of sales in this, and usually they've sold out of the most popular products within 3 to 4 minutes. Alongside this, Xbox, Microsoft here in the UK also do a great trade in terms of downloadable content. So what they tend to do is this. Microsoft sell games, they sell downloadable content, but on their page, for their Facebook fans only, they will occasionally offer free downloadable content with an aim towards keeping people happy and getting people engaged in purchasing future downloadable content as well. Just by simply having a coupon code or a tag that somebody can use, go off, claim their free gift, and come back and purchase at a later date. And the final step of this, amplification. Leveraging the network. You have a fan base in place. How do you actually leverage this? Facebook ads, sponsored stories, and social plugins together allow you to tap into not just your fans, but your friends of fans. If you have a page, for every 50,000 fans you have access to 3 million friends of fans. To give you an idea, Hairy Baby, that small t-shirt company, is run by 4 people. It's based in rural Ireland. They have almost 25,000 fans. They have access to almost 3 million friends of fans. And for e-commerce websites in particular, social plugins, domain stories, and domain insights can play a role. And I'm going to talk about these very briefly. This is Threadless. Threadless are a t-shirt company in the US. And Threadless have implemented social plugins on their website. So, the perfect example, I go on to Threadless and I saw this t-shirt. Basically, it's about 1980s computer games. When I click that like button, this shows now in my timeline. And this shows in my friends' timelines. I've liked this link and the details for it. So all of a sudden, the 1,000 friends that I have at the moment have seen I like this, and all of a sudden, Threadless have access to all these new people. If Threadless were to go a bit further and use sponsored stories, they could really amplify this. They could ensure that my message, me liking this link, is exposed in a permanent position to all of my friends and get even more business from this. So what we have here is social plugins in action. But on top of this, what you have here is domain stories, or sponsored stories products. There's a number of them. But essentially, if somebody interacts with any link on your domain, you can actually break this out into a sponsored story and show it to all the friends of whoever's interacted with that link. And this, combined with another product we have called Domain Insights, can be very, very powerful. Domain Insights simply allows you to sign up, put some code on your website, and see all the information to do with how people are sharing information about your website on Facebook. So every time somebody posts a link or a piece of content to do with your website, it shows up in this tool. And it can be very, very powerful. As an example of this, these are some of the metrics to do with a website we have, developers.facebook.com, which is where you learn all about implementing social plugins, etc. And what you have here is 3 metrics. The first one is the total actions taken. So everyone who's come to developers.facebook.com, they've read through all this content. Every piece of content has social plugins. So what you have here is, we can see over 800,000 actions have been taken. That means that over 800,000 times somebody has liked a particular article, and that's shown to all of their friends. And this is shown in the next metric, the distribution on Facebook. So all of those actions have resulted in 346 million impressions. So if you think about that, you've simply implemented a social plugin on your website, and yet you can have this sort of resounding effect. And on top of that, you have the referral traffic back to your website. So when somebody's clicked on a social plugin, all of their friends have seen it, a number of these might then go back to your website to see the original content. And in this case, what you see is 371,000 people, or 371,000 clicks have gone back to the original website. This can be very, very powerful. Again, we're building out some case studies around this, but we've had some examples of some online e-commerce retail websites who have had amazing impact with this, where they just didn't know people were sharing links to their website on Facebook. And when they eventually broke it out, they were finding that per month they were getting about 8.5 million impressions for the market that they were in, and they were getting about 25,000 clicks of people going back to the website. They just were never aware of this before. So finally, the way we view all of this in Facebook is stories. Stories are simply conversations between people, sharing information and sharing content. And what we feel Facebook is becoming is a stories engine. So you have our free products. You have the platform, which are social plugins, etc. You have pages and the fan base that you can generate, which feed into this stories. People interact, they create stories. That goes into their news feeds. It gets in front of their friends, and that generates more stories. You can also have some of our paid products, Facebook ads with friends, or sponsored stories. And these just help amplify, creating even more stories. And then even more sponsored stories just feeds back in. And what you have is this non-stop engine, this production of stories of people engaging with your content. So, if I'm going to leave you with 4 things, it would be these. Facebook is a stories-driven platform. That's the direction we're taking. That stories engine is going to form a core part of Facebook's strategy for the foreseeable future. Ask yourself, are you currently social by design? If you aren't, what can you do to be more so? Ask yourself, what does build, engage, and amplify look like for your company? Is it a page? Is it social plugins? Is it both together? And then for e-commerce, social plugins, domain stories, and domain insights are key. Getting people to engage with the content on your website, getting them to share that back to all their friends, and then being able to see the metrics behind this to show what that value is. So that brings me to the end. I'm signaled I'm out of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm around for the next couple of hours. So I've asked if I can steal straight out here to the right-hand side in the corner for any questions and answers. So I am here and I'm at your disposal for the next 2 to 3 hours. So we won't open up the floor for questions now. I'm just going to let everyone go in view of letting people go to lunch. And I'm going to say thank you very, very much. And I'm sure I'll talk to a lot of you outside. Thank you.